Hello and welcome to the show. And coming up on Election Brief today, in spite of resistance against its decision, the Electoral Commission begins nationwide pilot of registration of voters, promising to ensure strict adherence to social distancing protocols.
This place is marked, this place is marked. So when you have not entered, you can stand somewhere and be watching. But if you say that the marking can accommodate 20 people, then we'll cover 20 people. In the next 20, then you come, you position yourselves, so that it will not be that people juggling themselves and tumbling over each other.
We'll also bring you live updates of the ongoing exercise from our reporters across the country. Also, PNC Chairman Bernard Mona in the eye of the storm as police interrogate him on comments he made about the compilation of the new voters register. He says he will not retract even if it cost him his life.
Yes, they will send people to beat us. They will beat us. If we don't die, we will resist. We will continue to demand from the religious leaders. By the way,
we have details as members of the inter-party resistance against the new register and supporters mass up in solidarity with him. And we continue our conversation with the political parties on the way forward following government's decision to ease restrictions on social gatherings today. We'll hear from the CPP, the PNC, as well as the PPP. Thanks for staying with us. We begin with the Electoral Commission, which is today insisting it has put in place the necessary protocols required to guarantee the safety of the electorate as it begins a nationwide pilot of registration of voters today. The Commission is embarking on the exercise to, among others, test the suitability of its equipment ahead of the December 7 polls. Shortly, we'll be touching base with our reporters across the country for updates on the exercise. But first, listen to Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Srebo Kwaku, as he outlines the guidelines for the exercise.
To demarcate, then apply paints, so that when you come, this place is marked for one person, this place is marked, this place is marked. So when you have not entered, you can stand somewhere and be watching. But if you say that the marking can accommodate 20 people, then we'll cover 20 people. In the next 20, then you come, you position yourselves, so that it will not be that people juggling themselves and tumbling over each other. But before you enter into the demarcated area, we'll use the thermometer gun, take your temperature. The Minister of Health, to be also in consultation with them, with the team, they decided that they will form health mobile teams. So the one will pick the temperature, and temperature is above 38 degrees Celsius. They will call them that somebody is here, we don't think he's feeling fine. They will come and also observe you. After they have observed you, they will decide that from the way things are, they need to take you to the nearby health facility for attention. Or, oh, this one is normal, the person should go through. So once you are clear to go through, then at the entrance of the demarcated area, there will be a vertical bucket with soap and tissue, whatever, or hand sanitizer. Both of them should be there. So at times somebody will want to go for this or that. Then you wash your hand and the rest. Then you join the queue. When it is your type, you go to the table. When you sit at the table, you are supposed to go with your vote passport or Ghana card. If you don't have any of these, then you go with 2 guarantees.
Now, the EC director is hoping that the pilot will expose the challenges the Commission is likely to encounter for rectification before the actual registration.
You need 2 guarantors and 1 witness, so you prepare them. Now, assuming there is a community with only 2 people with either passport or Ghana card, well, how it will work is that you identify them early. Then those people will go, if it will be the two of us, we will go and register. And once we get our card, the two of us can guarantee for 10 people. Then the 10 people that we will guarantee, immediately they also get their cards. The 2 each, so between 5 times 10.
Now, as I indicated, the exercise is taking place at the Commission's regional offices across the country. Let's start from Accra, and specifically Sapeiman, where the Greater Accra Regional Office is located. My colleague Maxwell Akbakba observed the exercise. Here's what he found.
Let's get here. Okay. We have the Veronica bucket here. So the moment you come, you wash your hands, and then you dry it with a tissue before you come and then join the queue. We know the markings we have made. Okay. There will be 1 meter apart.
Oh, okay.
You'll be 1 meter apart.
Okay, so this is your mark. The next person will be here.
So
okay.
Follow up to the table where you do the registration.
Okay.
So that you will not be close to yes.
Okay.
And then when you get there too, there's a sanitizer there too, and then you use it before they start putting your no. Before then, the thermometer gun is there. It will be pointed and then take your temperature. If your temperature is above the normal one, then we have a place where we will keep you, and then we inform the health authorities to come and handle you. But if your temperature is okay, then before you move on to the process.
Okay. This is beautiful, social distancing, voters registration exercise. But how sure are you that these directives, when you deploy to the various polling stations where sometimes supervision will become difficult, these protocols will be adhered to?
The staff that have been engaged, definitely there will be 1 or 2 who will be free at a point in time to ensure that these protocols are fully observed. Because you have 2 registration officers. When one is attending to the applicant on the table, the one can also...
We are in coronavirus times. This one can wait.
I personally don't have a problem with it, because if the institution is guaranteeing social distancing and then the necessary equipment for the process to go on, why not?
Okay. So you don't agree with assertions that we should use the old voters register?
Anyway, that's their view, so they are entitled to their views. But for me, I have no problem.
Would you be voting in December?
Sure, I'll vote.
Okay. You risk it to vote in December, or you are sure that with the protocol put in place, it's safe to do?
If the safety protocols are there and we are told they will follow it, I'll go ahead and then vote.
So let's head to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where my colleague Erastus Asare Donko has been monitoring the exercise there. Erastus, so I'm sure you heard Maxwell Akbakba's report. The EC officials say that they have put in place the necessary protocols to ensure that people are safe to register. Is that the case in Kumasi?
Well, they are saying the same thing in Kumasi, and I must say that what we have seen at the regional office, the social distancing protocols have been adhered to. Immediately you go to the entrance, there is a sign indicating no face mask, no entry. So you have to get a face mask before you can enter. Then you wash your hands. There are 2 main washing bays there. There's one mechanized one which is using a solar system, and then there's the other one where you turn the tap. Right after that, then you get to the area where they've grouped them into 3 rows, and they've arranged the chairs in 1 meter distance apart. And there they take your temperature, and then you sit down and wait before you go through the entire process, which involves 3 desks, one recording the information, the other taking the biometrics, and then you go to the last end where your card is printed and is given to you. So we should say that, yes, the social distancing protocols are adhered to at this particular event.
What about the voters themselves? How many of them actually turned up, to participate in the exercise?
Well, a number of them, as we were leaving, as at about midday, they had done about 40 people so far, and there were people still in the queue. but many of them that we spoke with were EC officials who had come for the simulation or piloting of this exercise. Few of them are the ones who came from outside voluntarily. So I was asking the same question to the regional director, that why did they not choose a different place, perhaps a marketplace or a more busy place where they can get more people trooping in to be able to test the system very well. But he says that wherever you go, you still have people participating, and so they are okay with this. Afterwards, they'll file their report and they'll get things going.
All right, thank you very much for that update. That's Erastus Asaridonko with that report from Kumasi. Let's head over to the Volta region, where correspondent Fred Kwame Asari joins us on the line via Zoom with the latest. Fred, what can you report?
Well, Araba, here in the Volta regional capital, I should say that the exercise is going on smoothly. When you enter the premises of the regional offices, you are compelled to wash your hand where the Inca bucket is stationed. So you wash your hand. When you are about to access the registration center, there's a gentleman stationed there who takes your temperature. After that, you access the registration desk where your details are taken. But then I should say that unlike Accra, where seats have been stationed for people to sit to ensure that they observe social distancing, here in the Volta regional capital, there is nothing like that. After your details have been taken at the registration desk, that is the peg desk where they take your details and then they fill the forms for you. You have to wait for your turn at the table where they take your biometric details. But then only a bench has been placed there. So you see people who have already gone to the first desk and are waiting their turn for their details or their biometric details to be taken. They sit on the bench desk. So I should say that here in the Volta regional capital, there hasn't been the observance of social distancing. The NDC have complained about it. And then also to add to that, there was also an issue of people who reported at the center where they were not able to present their Ghana cards.
All right.
So they asked that in the absence of the Ghana card, can they go through the process? And they were told that no. If they are not able to produce the Ghana card and then get two guarantees, they wouldn't go through the process. So unlike the office in Accra where they are observing social distancing, here in the Volta region, I would say that there's no compliance or observance of social distancing.
Very well. Thank you so much. And that's Volta regional correspondent Fred Kwame Asari. Let's head to the northern region, and correspondent Martina Bugri joins us on the line now. Martina, bring us up to speed on how the exercise is going on in Tamale. Hello, Martina. If you can hear me, how is the turnout in Tamale?
The turnout, I must say that per the EC officials, they...
Unfortunately, we are having some technical challenges. All right, Martina is still on the line. Martina, go ahead.
Yes, at about 12:30, they had just 23 people go through the process. And that is because they had challenges from the beginning. And they had challenges with the batteries, which were, when you go through one person, it says battery low. And so the EC officials had to connect the system directly. They had to bring power from their offices to the center where they are doing the registration exercise. And that posed a bit of a challenge. So they had just a few number who have registered, even though the EC officials said they are happy with the number that has turned out already. And we had just 23 people registered. The other issue that came up was somebody guaranteeing for you. They could not input the details into their system because that software isn't part of the system. And so I asked what happens then. He says that they would forward that complaint back to their headquarters, that this is the challenge. But I also spoke to some of the people who had come to participate, and there was a...
All right, so that's Martina Bugri bringing us the latest from Tamale, where the exercise is also ongoing. This is Election Brief. Let's turn our attention now on one person who has been very critical of the Electoral Commission, and I'm talking about Chairman of the People's National Convention, Bernard Mona. He's been questioned by personnel of the police CID for comments he made last week. He was reported to have said he will beat up EC officials if he's provoked or attacked by them. Today, Mr. Mona, accompanied by angry members of the inter-party resistance against the new voters register who marched in solidarity with him, he's refusing to retract the comments, saying he will continue to repeat them even if it cost his life.
Just gone through a cordial process with the police. My statement is, and I quote, that I made the statements that are contained in the 37 seconds video that they showed to me, and that I stand by those statements and I had nothing more to add. I promised you that whatever I said that occasioned the invitation, I stand by it. The Electoral Commission of Ghana must know that their actions have the potential to plunge this nation into calamity. We are cautioning them that if they do not heed to us and anything happens to this country, they will not be safe. It is unthinkable that chiefs, community leaders will sit in their communities. Electoral Commission staff will get there and tell those people that they are not Ghanaians on the basis that they don't have Ghana card and passport. It will not happen. We are Ghanaians before national passports. We are Ghanaians before the Ghana card or ECOWAS card. ECOWAS card will not determine whether we are Ghanaians or otherwise. So it is important that the police, some of who are here, who are desiring for change, that they must wake up to the reality that anything that the Electoral Commission does that plunges this nation into calamity, there the police will also be affected. Whether they beat us, whether they kill us, we will continue to stand up for our rights as citizens of this nation, because our great-grandfathers used their toil and their blood to ensure our independence. We shall protect it. I want to thank all of you that without invitation, you have come here to show solidarity. I want to thank our legal team for the professional manner in which they led this process. And to the many that have not been able to come here, I assure you, I will never be intimidated. I will come to you in your various communities preaching that we should resist the voters register because it is a recipe for disaster. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make us, our nation, great and strong, but above all, make us resist oppressors' rule. Thank you, and may God bless us all. Well, they said that my comments were conducive for the breach of peace, and I told them that my comments were conducive for the promotion of peace.
Yes. So you haven't been charged with anything?
That's all. I told them that I stand by the 37-second video that they showed me, and I will not answer any other question. Apart from that, what else could they have done? Every other Tuesday, every 2 weeks. So on the 16th, yes. Wherever I am in the country, I'll report to the police there, not just the headquarters.
Bernard Mona there, speaking to the media, his point is that that he's been asked to come to the CID quarters every other 2 days. He made it clear to the police that he still stands by his words and that he is not going to retract it. His comment is rather meant to promote peace and not chaos. So these are the words of Mr. Bernard Mona, who just walked out of the CID headquarters. The police are still waiting to ensure that the crowd disperses. Now that the demand has been met, that they wanted the PNC chairman to be released, and he has been released. The police is just waiting patiently to ensure that the crowd disperses, so that at least they can restore, they can go back to their normal duties. For now, the police tells us that they are maintaining law and order here at the CID headquarters. And of course, quite a number of them are here, of course, ready if in case perhaps the crowd would want to cause riots or chaos, and then they'll move in to quickly restore calm and order. So this is the situation here at the CID headquarters, where Bernard Mona has been released, but we are told that, according to him, he hasn't been charged, and that he's been asked to report to the CID quarters every other Tuesday.
You're still watching Election Brief. Now, yesterday we spoke to the NDC and MPP on the strategies they are deploying to get back on the campaign trail. Today we're joined by the CPP as well as the PPP representatives of both parties. So I'm joined by James Kwabena Bonfe. He's national organizer of the CPP, as well as Paco Akon. He is a director in the PPP. Many thanks for your time, gentlemen. So we do know that the president has eased the restrictions and it's paved way for you to begin your campaign activities. I know that for your parties, you are yet to elect executives to run the affairs of the party heading towards December 2020. So when do you intend to hold these elections for your executives? Let's start with you, Mr. Bonfe.
Well, thank you very much. I'm the acting general secretary of the CPP.
Thank you for the correction.
So, but Araba, we did not have to wait for the president's directive of easing up the space. For us, there are many ways in which or by which we have previously conducted and organized our party. So mass rallies that we were stopped from utilizing as a result of the COVID situation was the only one missing. The personal contacts and the direct one-on-one and social media and internet protocols that we have used in the past have still been available to us, and we're using them. What is important to bring to our attention is that we have a pending suit against the party, which has stopped us from going for Congress. And that is why we are still where we are. But we are hoping that pretty soon, maybe in the next few days or a week, we should be able to get clear with that legal matter and then be able to unroll or roll out the plans that we have to have our National Delegates Congress that will elect party officers and then the flag bearer for the 2020 general elections, which will also then pave way for the central committee's endorsement of parliamentary candidates throughout the constituencies that we will be filing to contest.
But Mr. Bonfe, you are 6 months shy of the elections. What time frame are you looking at? Do you think you have adequate time to put all this together?
The program of the CPP is never late. If you look at our history, we are in the month of June, and I can assure you that in terms of manifesto preparation, in terms of identifying individuals who will be speaking for the party on the front of various sectors, we have all these things being worked out on the quiet. So really, we are not behind time, and we believe that whatever issues there are to be addressed by the party, articulating our views, we have done that in recent times and will continue to do so as and when the need arises.
All right, let me bring in Paco Akon here. What about you? The same question to you. What measures are you putting in place to conduct your primaries, first of all, as you look ahead towards campaigning for the December polls? Hello, Mr. Akon, if you can hear me, what is your party doing with regards to, conducting your primaries and putting together your executives as you look ahead to the December polls? Okay, so we do have a challenge with the sound there with Mr. Akon. We'll go back to him, but Mr. Bonfe is still on the line with me. Mr. Bonfe, yesterday we spoke to the MPP National Chairman, Freddie Blay, and he indicated that his party is considering, amongst others, e-voting for their upcoming primaries. What do you make of that? Is that something that your party is likely to also consider?
Well, that is for them to explain, but I mean, our options do not include e-voting, and so I will not canvass for that now.
Is that because it will require a lot of resources and your party doesn't have that?
It's not about resources. Anybody who understands e-voting will appreciate its intricacies and its own requirements. When you talk about e-voting, it's about real-time voting across internet protocols. So what is the penetration of technological infrastructure in our country?
Right.
There are 275 constituencies.
Right.
If you are going to do e-voting within e-protocols across all these, do you have the same kind of infrastructure penetration across the 275 constituencies?
All right, I think the point has been made. Thank you, Mr. Bonfe. Let's go to Pakwesi Akon, who is on the line now. Pakwesi, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Akon, can you hear me? We still have a challenge with the sound, but very quickly, a last word from Mr. Bonfe. What is your party's strategy as we look forward to the 2020 polls? What is the strategy for reaching out to the electorate?
We have been more direct in our strategies in the past, and COVID-19 has brought us a reality that says that we must go more direct and reach out to the Ghanaian citizenry who will be voting in more direct ways than before. And of course, the ways in which we have done that have been through preparation of literature and then voices. And
so that's James Kwabena Bonfe. He's acting national organizer of the Convention People's Party, wrapping up election brief for today. Unfortunately, technology prevented us from talking to the PPP's representative. But that's all for today. I'm Arbor Kumson. Join us for another edition tomorrow.